Welcome again to our Friday News Roundup segment, the Road to 850, Your Credit Score. Again, based on a book by Al Bingham, and I strongly encourage you go search Amazon and find that book and get a copy for yourself. Today, we're going to ask the question, how much does it cost you? How much do a few points change in your credit score? What are some of the actual costs or potential costs? In review, I just wanted to remind us that we've talked about the FICO score, Fair Isaacs Company, which is a publicly traded company that reports your credit score to users of credit information. And they collect data from predominantly three credit reporting agencies, which are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, which are also a private publicly traded company. So let's talk about the lenders, and specifically mortgage lenders, and how the credit score can affect your cost or bottom line. First off, most lenders use a reporting score from each of the agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And if you'll remember when we discussed in a previous segment that each one of those credit agencies have different criteria for creating a score, but the scores are reported, collected by the company that's looking at studying your credit and ultimately making a loan. And they'll take what's called a merge score, or they'll take the three scores. So for example, if you have three scores from the different vendors, a 680 credit score, a 738 credit score, and a 715 credit score, they'll look at those three numbers and they'll use the middle score. So in this case, they would use 715 as your credit score. Now, at the high end, a credit score of 808 or above might have $1,500 as an example, $1,500 in costs for that loan, and then one at the low end might have as much as $11,500 in closing costs. That would be for a credit score of 620 or below, perhaps. You'll notice that credit scores have that's a lot of money. Sorry, skipped right over that difference of $1,500 versus $11,000, and that also does not take into account the additional interest rate and the cost of the life of the loan on the interest. That's just closing costs on a typical mortgage loan. So then we'll talk a little bit about credit scores as well. They come in bunches, and they are graded in groups, starting with the low end and going all the way up to 850, and they basically have brackets of 15. So you'll see a credit score of 620 to 639, then the next level up will be 640 to 651, and of course then 660 to 679, and so on in 15-point increments. Well, the question at the beginning of this segment was how much does it cost you? Well, 1 point, if you move from a bracket of 660 to 659, can be a significant number. It can be the difference between a couple of hundred and a couple of $1,000s in your score. So paying attention to those little individual points and how they use those and each individual agency can become a very important factor. It's also important to note that that's where you should have a good mortgage professional, a good real estate lender, a good real estate broker who can understand and walk you through how this process works, because if you can get your score up just a couple of points, that ultimately can be thousands of dollars in savings to you. So at the end of the day, what's the cost? We've kind of talked about that. It can be the difference between $1,500 and $10,000. That's a significant number. We should add that after the market crash in 2007, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac paid particular attention to interest rates and credit scores, and that's where this really became very significant, and that's probably not going away anytime soon. So your credit score can be affected in all areas of your life, as we've discussed, and specifically with a mortgage lender. So I did want to just say there should be some spreadsheets available on the website, so take a look at those and we'll kind of detail out a little bit more interest rate versus closing cost versus the cost of a different interest rate, even just a few percentage points over the life of the loan. And want to make a disclaimer, I got to have the small print, that each individual credit application, each individual's credit score can vary greatly for a numerous amount of reasons, and the intent of all of these videos is to get you to look at your own credit score and learn about this and learn how you can increase your credit score and ultimately make you aware of that and allow you to participate in the marketplace. Thanks again to all the introductions and to the referrals for those that I can help with real estate. And sure appreciate your time, and have a great day.